something sweet, but really don't want to mess it up ever. So we're gonna be making brownies. It's gonna be done in a very simple process. Today we will discuss first gathering all your ingredients, next mixing process, and then in different ways how to serve them up, like change it up to fit like whatever your aesthetic is. So I've been making these brownies since like 2019. I did do college pastry in 2022 for a little bit. So first, we're gonna gather all our ingredients. I did it ahead of time to make it a little bit faster. So I got my oil, which you're gonna need, your 2 eggs, water, trust me there's water in this, and my brownie mix. I don't make them from scratch because I'm gonna admit it, I'm a little lazy and it's just easier to do it this way. And then I did this a little quicker, is you set up your pan ahead of time. I didn't think you guys wanted to watch me for 4 minutes struggling to do a pan. Yeah, so you either do, you can spray it with oil. I find it easier to do it this way. Sky. So now that we kind of have everything like in front of us, we can start putting it actually all together. Start! So in order to actually start mixing this all together, I'm gonna take this out of the box. I already did cut it ahead of time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour it into a big bowl. My dog is annoying me, sorry. And then for when I gather it all, I already poured it into the measuring cup. It is 2/3 oil. You can use vegetable oil instead. I use canola oil, I use whatever oil. You can always substitute it out. It's just, this is what we had. So then you just add it in. And then 2 eggs. For what I learned is for eggs, you always want to have a separate bowl, dish, whatever, because you don't want to crack it straight in here. Because sometimes you don't know your eggs are actually bad. And that way you can actually check your egg to make sure it's actually good. Because I've had it happen before where we had bad eggs. I cracked it straight into the bowl. It was black. The egg was black and gross. I had to throw everything out and I couldn't make what I was going to make. Don't vomit, please. Yeah. So that's why you can always check your eggs so that way you don't mess it up, that process at all.
2 eggs.
Yes, it's 2 eggs, and then I have water already in here. I promise it's water, nothing else. And then you do 3 tablespoons of water. 2, 3. And then when you mix it, this is my favorite thing. I always use a whisk. You could use a scraper, paddle, spatula, whatever you want to call it. I use a whisk in the beginning because it's just a lot easier to get it mixing it together for the first half. And then you'll see why I have both of them. There's a reason why I always use 2. You want to make sure they're actually really well mixed. As you can see, like right now, it's not really well incorporated. And you don't want to serve undercooked eggs that's not in there because you're going to get someone sick by giving them salmonella. So you want to keep continuously doing it. You could do this in a mixer. I just find it easier to do it by hand for myself. But once it's actually nice and smooth, this is where I like to change up my recipe a little bit. So like I said, you can add whatever you want. I like to add chocolate chunks to mine, but there's so many different things you can add. So, I'm missing a card, sorry. So we're gonna talk about like the different ways that you can do it. For me, like I said, I like the chocolate chunks. Sorry, I just have a little bit to get all that excess off. I'm not trying to be dirty. So I like to do these chocolate chunks. It's just, it makes it a little bit easier. That's the way I do it because it adds an extra bit of chocolate to it. I've done M&Ms, I've done these little chocolate chip ones, I've done nuts. If you want to do nuts, not everyone can have nuts because they are allergic. This is where I like to use this spatula better, because if you use the whisk, sorry, thank you, it kind of gets all stuck in there, and then you kind of have to really hit it hard to get out, and so that way you can't actually get everything in there perfectly at all. So you can add them for different things. So like for Valentine's Day, what I did was I did like the Valentine's M&Ms. I throw them in there so it adds a splash of color for it. For right now, you could get like the different seasonal M&Ms or different kind of things. That way it changes it up at least, so it's a different flavor. I've done candy, everything else. You can do whatever. You can serve them however you like. Like I know a lot of people like to serve them with, the number one thing, ice cream. Everyone likes an ice cream brownie, ice cream. Eat them by yourself. Everyone does differently. Sorry. And now we're gonna pour into your pan. Like I said, I like to use a pan that's already has a parchment liner just because it makes it easier to clean up your mess afterwards, because then you don't have to try to get them out of the pan and ruin your pan that way by like cutting it and everything, because then you're cutting into like a stainless steel pan and it's gonna kind of ruin it a little bit. For me it does. I don't like looking at that. You kind of have to scrape as much as you want out. It's really hard because this is not the bowl I usually use. There you go. If you want, you can always have someone lick the spatula if you want. I'm not gonna do that because it's unsanitary. For me, I like to shake it just so that way I can make sure it's even in all the corners. That way I know it's well incorporated in. Almost. So for me, like I said, I'm gonna do it a little loud, sorry. People say you shouldn't do that. I like to because that's how I know it's set evenly. And then like I said, you can always change it up and add whatever you want. I like to throw more on top. That way every single bite is a little bit different. So some have a lot of chocolate, some of them don't. It depends on preference. Like I said, you can do nuts, but I know some people are like allergic to nuts, as well as you don't have to use eggs, because some people have an egg allergy nowadays. So instead you could use applesauce actually. So it actually changes it up. So my oven is actually done. I am gonna step out of frame for a minute though. I'm gonna put this in the oven for 33 minutes. And by the end of it, you will have, I made these earlier.
Whoa. Wow, that's so
Yeah. Some actually really delicious brownies.
Whoa.
So, yes, in a minute. So you can see, like, brownies can be done in a very simple process. Like, first you just gotta get all your ingredients. Then you just do the whole mixing process. And then you can just serve it any different way you would like. So you can do it multiple different ways. It's kind of preference, up to you. Serve it with ice cream if you want afterwards. You don't have any. Or eat it plain. But now we have the fun of cleaning up afterwards.
There you go.
Yay!
Wow, that was cool.